Yes, sir.
Fellow soldier in a war for America.
Yes.
And you know, as you played that song, something came to mind recently. We see that the Ghetto Youth Foundation, which is a foundation directed by Stephen and Damian and Julian Marley, sons of legendary Jamaican reggae superstar Bob Marley, they have donated 80 remote learning tablets to students in Trenchtown because they have this foundation where they have built a school also. Yes, in February 2020, on the eve of their father's 75th birthday, the Ghetto Youth Foundation directors officially opened the Cornerstone Learning Center after a 2-year process to plan, build, and fund the project. So they have constructed what they call the Cornerstone Learning Center in Trenchtown, and it's really for helping the youth there in developing the arts and the culture and training in different areas, you know?
Yeah.
So we see Bob Marley's children continue, the Bob Marley legacy continues to live on. Okay? Yep. And speaking of legacy, it is my pleasure to really introduce two young men who really represents the legacy of Guelph, the legacy of Guelph and the energy of Guelph. They are sons of a brother and a sister, people that I knew as children. We come from the same area in Guelph, the back street or Edward Street.
Yeah.
And these two people are here with us this afternoon. So it's my pleasure to introduce to our listeners Mr. Javin Sonny and Mr. Matthew Jarvis Sonny and Mr. Matthew Jones. Good afternoon to you, gentlemen. Good afternoon, Brother Sonny.
How you doing, Mr.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
How you doing, man? How's everything?
All right. I'm good, man. I'm good. And good afternoon to you, Matthew.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to talking.
Yes, sir.
Well, actually, so these two gentlemen, they happen not to have been born in Grenada, but as it's well known, you know, we have people who come out of the loins, to use a biblical term.
Yes.
Who come out of the loins of Grenadians, and they represent and carry an appreciation for Grenada as much as some of us who are actually born in the Spice Island. So welcome again, gentlemen. And in a nutshell, now in the promotion, I would have shared that Mr. Sonny, he's an up-and-coming artist. He is the co-founder and manager of the I Am Grenada website, and we are going to be speaking a bit more about that. But in a nutshell, Mr. Sonny, if you don't mind, if you can introduce yourself to our viewers and to our listeners, and just tell us a short, something short about yourself.
Yes. So, as you said, my name is Jarvis Sonny. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Both of my parents were raised in the parish of St. John's. My dad is from Guelph. My mom is from Black Bay. I've been taught about the culture ever since I was younger. He's playing Bob Marley. It's today. I probably know every single Bob Marley song that's come out. his children's songs.
Okay.
As such. So, Grenada has played a big part of my life. It's carried in the bloodline. I mean, I've been born there, but, the blood traveled far.
Absolutely. And Mr. Matthew Jones, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. My name is Matthew Jones, and my mom is Cheryl. And then I have my father named James Jones. My mother is from Guelph. My dad's is from New York, Brooklyn. My mother came up here when she was around 13, and now I live in Charlotte. I love it here. So it's a blessing to be a part of just the legacy of her being a Grenadian descendant up here too now.
Have you had the opportunity to visit Grenada as yet, Mr. Jones?
I have. I went when I was very young, so I didn't get the full-fledged experience that I wanted, but I plan on going again because I remember it was very, very, very beautiful.
Okay, well, let's hope that the COVID, gets under control very soon, and we can be able to welcome you to Guave and to Grenada,
yes.
to the spice country. So, Mr. Sonny, it says that you also you were raised in Brooklyn. Both parents are from Grenada, and you were inspired, and that you have visited Grenada some years back, and that has inspired you to open a center for children who are struggling with cultural identification and want to embrace their gift and stuff like that. Can you tell us a bit about that?
So as far as just doing that, I do it as like an artist, and as well I relate it back to the website.
Okay.
With dealing with the website, my main thing is to create opportunities as well as bring light, not only to Grenada in itself, but the people who inhabit it. There's a lot of people who we brought light to, as far as some small businesses, like a lady we did, she does massage therapy. There's even famous actors who are from Grenada that people don't know about, who we put on there. And even with my music as well, as come up as an artist, my main goal is to, again, create opportunity not only for myself, but people who relate to me or people who are like me. I do certain music work as far as production with certain artists locally, and even across the country, state. I do work with artists in California and Boston. But I mean, my main goal, and it was engraved in me since young, is to always find a way to give back and find a way to, make a change in the world and make an impact any way that I can.
So that being said, how long ago has the website I Am Grenada been in operation?
So the website started September of 2019. Before we started the website, we went to Grenada, I believe in July of the same year. We didn't even come up with the idea until the beginning of 2019. So to make a long story short, it started off with a conversation with my father and I in his backyard. And me personally, growing up, I spent some time in Florida. I spent my high school year, my secondary school year in Florida, going to high school. And when somebody would ask me where I'm from and they sense my accent, and I say I'm from Grenada, it never proceeds on as like, I would say I'm from Jamaica or from like Haiti or Trinidad. Nobody nobody knows about it, basically. Like, they may have heard the name, but they don't know the history of it or the culture of it. And I always found that very strange growing up. And mind you, too, that I haven't been to Grenada for some time now, since before 2019. So when I went back there, it was really a change for me, putting, names, faces to names and such. And I mean, seeing how it's a very beautiful place. And I feel like it's very underestimated of how beautiful Grenada is. The people there and how safe it is compared to other countries and other islands that people tend to go to. But it was definitely, I felt like it was kind of a role, or I just felt driven, my father and I, to create something to shine light in a very different way, not in the way that you would expect it,
Mm-hmm.
Make it more appealing to not only, typical Caribbean people, but even anyway from go to Europe and bring it up. You know, it should be something that should drive somebody to be more curious about it, you know?
Okay. So with that being the case, what's been the main focus, therefore, of the page? What exactly do you try to promote? You did mention about certain individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What exactly do you try to highlight?
So like I said, my main purpose is to create opportunities. Like, for example, we create blogs with Vance Larson and with our full spectrum blogs as well. My dad and I co-monitor that. He creates or he does certain aspects or certain features, like bringing light with Grenada making waves. Even game changers and did you know is kind of like a history. We give you we teach you certain things that has happened in the past and how Grenada has came up, even through liberation as such. And we're Grenada making waves is just Grenadians who are giving an impact, who are on the same type of route that we're on, or just bring people back to their roots, basically. Like I said, not a lot of people know certain famous people who are Grenadians. You know, we did this one guy who was a bodybuilder, and even just him, even us tagging him in that post. I mean, he was very. He was surprised, but he's very thankful, and it kind of made him reminisce about how he's growing up, because I'm pretty sure he's not really thinking about that, you know, now where he's at. But it kind of brought back to the root of the culture, you know.
Okay, I think that was Mac Felix you may be speaking about.
Yes.
Okay.
The bodybuilder, yes.
Okay. Yeah, he's been bodybuilder and power lifter. And yes, he's been doing very well for himself on the international circuit. Mr. Jones, in an article dated 22nd September 2020, coming from the Clemson News, it says, having inherited his artistic abilities and being trained in sewing by a close friend, Matthew Jones is a College of Business Finance major who is tailoring a career to suit his interests. Can you tell us what is, now we see Clemson News, what is Clemson News and where does it originate from? And, you know, because it says that Clemson is one of the most productive public research universities in the nation. Can you tell us a bit about that and as your status as a student and going forward?
Yeah, I'd love to. To begin, I'll talk about like what Clemson is. Clemson is it's a college university. That's where I go to school. I'm a part of a few organizations and accelerator programs for entrepreneurs. I had the blessing of being recognized as a successful entrepreneur in the school, so they wrote an article on me. So that's pretty much the basis of what Clemson is and what the reason of the article.
Okay. And how long have you been a student at Clemson?
I am a junior now. I've been in there for 2 years because I transferred my sophomore year.
Okay. And what specifically is your focus of study at Clemson?
So I'm actually now a marketing major. Before I vetted my business, I thought the only way to make money was through being around money all the time and managing money, of course. But I wasn't super happy. I wanted to do something that I loved. And my mother, Cheryl Sani, she encouraged me to pursue marketing. And ever since I started doing marketing, I loved it. And it's really nice to parallel to what I do for my company. So I'm doing things I love and enjoy.
And being at Clemson,
yeah.
at what stage? Well, it says that last year you had this launch. Can you tell us a bit more about that element of your operation, this business function that you have, which says that you you are tailoring a career to suit your interests?
So you're asking me to expand on the idea of how I'm tailoring.
The whole issue of that career in tailoring. You've established this clothing line and so on. So can you tell us a bit about it and how essentially did that come about? Because it's not every business finance major student you would find really getting into that line of operation, even at this stage in their studies.
So what I was trying to do exactly was to put myself into a position to where I could make money doing something that I loved. And right now, it's very popular to create e-commerce stores. So I always loved fashion and design and providing products that best articulate the individualism of consumers. Many consumers, they buy clothes that are thrown in their face, not clothes that they actually enjoy. Most of marketing today is derived off of what consumers click on, what consumers speak, because phones can listen to what people are buying. But I wanted to change that. I wanted to provide art. I wanted to provide clothes that simply speak to the buyer, to my customer, versus things being shoved in their face. I started my business as soon as the pandemic happened, around June. So like 2 months after the pandemic happened. I had fun doing that. I wanted to go into that field because I didn't think that there was anything else that I would really love to do. When I really sat down with all the extra time COVID has given to all of us, I had the opportunity of really, really thinking about where I want to be in the future, how my mornings are and how my nights will be spent based off of me working in a financial firm or me working for myself. And I weighed the benefits and the sacrifices, and I realized I was willing to give up X amount of things to accomplish what I really want. And what I really wanted was to become an entrepreneur for e-commerce store, just selling things that I truly love and that my consumers will love as well.
Okay, so you decided to be an entrepreneur and selling stuff that you really love. But in order for you to get to that stage or to get to that phase of your operation, you had to have learned that skill somewhere along the line, and you had to have, for want of a better word, perfected that skill to a certain level in order to be able to put it out there into the public domain. So can you tell us a bit about the process of you developing that skill?
To summarize it, was failing. I failed a lot and learned how to get back up from falling, I guess. So to mitigate the cost of consistently failing, I had to reach to mentors, people who've lived longer life than me and have wisdom to give unto me. So I had a friend, his name's Timmy Underwood. He's a designer. He goes to Scout University in Georgia in the States. And I asked him, like, hey, I have all these ideas, but I can't bring them to life because I can't sew. And as soon as my mom heard me speaking about like my vision, she didn't want it to fade away because I was limited. My mom the next day bought me a sewing machine. And sewing machines are expensive. It's a pretty good investment. So as soon as she bought it, I was forced in the conditions to just take my dream and run with it. So I went to my friend. I spent like 4 days living with him for a bit and learned how to sew, just the basics, the mechanics of it all. And then from there, it's been just like self-taught, YouTube, just reading, just learning how to make patterns, how to design. And once I had the skill of building a product and product development and production, I had to use the skills I've gained from my marketing classes to implement strategies to best bring the attention of consumers or people to my brand. And in doing so, I created stores that were appealing. And from there, I had to create a marketing plan that showed I don't just make cool clothes. I value the corporate look, the professional look, while also prioritizing luxury into the brand.
Oh, well, it's not many young people or that age group, or have you found there to be many young people of your age group who's taken that kind of marketing approach in terms of operating these kind of virtual or electronic business operations?
Yeah, I don't know. Something in me I just always wanted to create something, and I know as soon as you work for someone else and they give you a good salary, you stop caring about your vision, your dreams, and you just start fulfilling someone else's dreams. I didn't want to get stuck in that so early, so I just went against the grain. And in doing so, you have to surround yourself around people who are also doing what you're doing and have succeeded, so that you're not, because not everyone's going to, like someone who works in finance and works for a firm will not understand the value of me giving away free products just to make a customer happy just because of one imperfection I made. They won't understand the value of making a customer feel amazing rather than losing one person, They understand what money goes in, what money goes out, not just building relationships. So I love relationships. That's the biggest thing why I also love entrepreneurship, is just doing something that I love and making money out of it. That's the bottom line. I love relationships, and I thought the best way to fulfill that dream of mine is by creating my own business. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Sonny.
Sir.
Back to you, sir. I Am Grenada. You feature a number of people. You mentioned a while ago Mr. Mark Felix, yes, whom you have promoted, and there are others. How do you determine who gets promoted and when? How do you go about identifying and selecting your case studies?
So there's a couple of ways. Some of them reach out to us, and I want to kind of piggyback on just that itself. We want more people to reach out. There's more of us. It's more so of us finding people ourselves, whether on Facebook, rather than them coming to us. Because we want people to be more active as far as trying to be part of us. We could create a family in a way. Another way is just doing typical research. Like we go on Google. My father also knows some guys that are famous. Like there's this Power Ranger guy that I've seen. I don't know if you watched that show growing up, but I never knew that one of the Power Rangers was Grenadian, So it's just off of just doing personal research and people coming back and emailing us or direct messaging us saying that they have, that they do this and they would like to be a part of it. And we just determine, who goes on from there.
So how often do your features published? Is it a daily? Is it a weekly something? Is there a periodic approach, or is just something that you can expect at any given time?
It's something you could expect at any given time. I would like to say we're very consistent on a weekly basis. We will post probably no less than twice a week, twice every other week, maybe like 3 times every week we'll post. So you could expect any type of information at any given time. There's no like specific days for specific features of the website, So one day we might just give you information about the full spectrum, or did you know, or game changers, or Grenada making waves. It's just more so random in a way.
Okay, and you said you have been going for how long now?
The website opened in September 2019. So since 2019.
And what kind of reception have you been receiving from the general public? What kind of feedback has there been from Grenadians at home, Grenadians in the diaspora?
We get a lot of good feedback. The only thing, like I said before, is that we want more people to be involved. On Facebook is where most of our crowd is at, right? So we're trying to transfer people from not only using Facebook, but be ambidextrous with Instagram as well. So Facebook, we have over 4,000 followers, which is it's a big deal. Like, I'm very proud for us to reach to that point. Now with Instagram, we have over 300 followers. So I feel like there's kind of a barrier in a way as far as linking everybody together, the Facebook followers with the Instagram followers, so we can all come together. So it's nobody's being left out in a way, you know? So like I said before, a lot of people want to be involved, but they don't know how to be involved. So we try to articulate that anybody could email us. It's not as if like we're just choosing or playing sides in a way. It's like we need more people to be involved for us to create more content that will relate to the inhabitants of Grenada as a whole.
So you say about getting more people to be involved.
Yes.
Who are some of the kinds of people that you're looking for to highlight? What does someone have to be, or what does someone have to be involved in for them to qualify as a feature of your presentation?
I feel like you have to be somebody who just wants to create a change, and there's no ratio, or you don't have to be somebody famous or anybody who's doing something big. There's no scale. I mean, even just a lady who we featured who just started doing massage, and she's a small business in Grenada, and she just wants to get her business out there. To me, that's enough. Just you coming to us and saying that you want to be involved is enough. You know, you're making a change, and you want to help and give back. I mean, that's just enough. You don't have to do anything extra from there.
Okay, and how easy it is to reach you if one wants to reach you and one wants to make you aware of someone who's doing something or who is involved in something. How do they reach you?
Well, you could email us or join our newsfeed through our I'm Grenada page. Facebook, you can message us or comment. Our email is on Facebook and on Instagram and on the I'm Grenada website. We check every single day. I mean, my father is very, adamant of looking, especially from the back end, of who's commenting and who's liking what. We check everything thoroughly. I mean, there's not a day or hour that goes by that we're not looking at something. I mean, my phone is right here. If somebody emails me, I'm ready to go shoot an email back. So it's very prompt. You're not going to wait too long.
So you said all your contact information is on that page, I Am Grenada.
Yes, on all of our pages, all of our platforms.
So all one has to do is to Google I Am Grenada. They'll find your page, and they'll be able to find all of your contact information and so on, and be able to get to you there.
Yes, just scroll all the way down, and you will see where you could put your name and your email, and then you will sign up for our news feed, and we'll go from there. We'll see your email or your sign up pop up right like immediately.
Okay. Mr. Jones,
hey,
back to you. There's a reason why I chose to have you two young men, because we have a situation in Grenada where young people, well, let me say it a bit different, where we have been conditioned and we have been programmed, and I believe Brother Jones mentioned it in his speaking a while ago, that people have been more or less conditioned to think about a 9-to-5 job, to think about work along these lines, and not about creating our own employment, being entrepreneurs. And you two young men are representative of that kind of approach that is not the straight-laced 9 to 5 operation where you go to a workplace at a given time and you sign off at a given time. You two are doing things that you consider to be your passion. And I wanted to highlight specifically how young men, because we have that situation in where youths, and in particular young men, seem to be marginalized and not have the kind of focus that you two young men are demonstrating at this stage in your development. And I must commend you and commend your parents also for you being, at that level of productivity at this stage in your maturity. So it was, I found it necessary to bring you guys on so that we can have, something that we can share with young people in Grenada and indicate to them that there are options out there that they can embrace and that can be worthwhile, not just for their development, but also for the development of our community and for the development of our country. So, Mr. Jones, your clothing line, who is your target audience actually in terms of what you produce? Who's your target audience? Are you doing stuff just for the young and
no? So I'm doing stuff for everyone. So the mantra that I created for Veta is turning garment to gallery. So I don't want people just to look at my products as just clothes, but pieces of art. And the conventional thought process of when it comes to art is everyone has their own perception on it and how they perceive and how they love it. So I want to create a variety of pieces for all ages. The goal is to get it in everyone's hands because they're timeless pieces. They're not something you throw away when you're done with it, like something you give to your kid afterwards, like a legacy piece. To answer your question, no, it's not just for people my age or people a bit just in their 20s. It's for everyone. I want it to be for everyone.
Okay. And what would you say are some of the more prominent or the more prominent elements of your production, and who are some of your more popular supporters, since you've launched your site?
So I'm still startup.
What segment? What sector of
So I'm still a startup, right? When you have a startup and your customers are coming in, it's hard to concentrate on which customers are coming in and where they're who are they? Because I have ranges from customers who are 18, I have customers who are 28, and I have customers who are 64. Because I've done a vintage album cover recently, the Abbey Road Beatles album cover, and people know who that is from all ages. So right now I can say genuinely, this is a big range, but 24 to 54, and I have some people who are younger who can afford it. But it is a luxury brand, so my pieces are expensive. That could be the only specific answer I can give you that would separate one demographic from another. Is just because they can afford the pieces, So that's other than that, it's pretty widespread group of consumers. I can give you a better one on next time we have another podcast or something.
Okay.
More seasoned as a startup.
So what quality or what kinds of stuff do you produce? If I'm looking for what can I expect to find?
Okay, so should
I come searching out your website and so? What kind of stuff do you do?
Yeah, good answer. So I have it separated right now. I'm actually relaunching the website now. I'm very excited about that. A lot of new things coming, but I have one pieces that consumers can buy and will never be seen again. Like if a consumer buys that one piece, no one else in the entire world will have it, right? And then I have some bulk lines, some lines that I have many items of because it's a very popular line to build capital and also to give the consumers what they want. So it's one of ones. I have certain lines, and then what I have hoodies, I have crew necks, then I have pants. That was my winter line. I'm dropping a summer line within the next like 2.5 months. That will consist of bucket hats, corsets, and shorts. And then the material I use is polyester cotton woven material. It's tapestry. But I do a mixture of things. The culture around Vetted is, once again, it's creativity and art. So we don't want to just provide one specific type of style. We do a variety, whether it's streetwear, whether it's classy, or whether it's just vintage. So we try to put our hands in everything, in every type of the industry.
Okay. Well, tell you the truth, when I was growing up in Grenada, young men and women sewing, as we call it, you know, being tailors and being seamstresses. This was prominent during the day when I was growing up. That seemed to have faded away quite a bit, you know, in the recent past, and you don't find too many young people getting into that kind of operation, you know. I believe Brother John, I believe you have some background in that. Your mic is off. I believe you have some background in these areas of operation, and I'm certain, given the line of the conversation about entrepreneurship, I'm certain that you have a little input that you'd like to make at this juncture.
Well, you know, I want to congratulate both young men on the initiative. As a young man myself, I've been involved in business since I was 14 years old. You know, I used to print T-shirts to sell, you know, and I used to design mass bands for Volume 2, Steel Orchestra mass band on Carnival time. Wasn't a paid job. It was something I enjoyed doing as a hobby. African Teller, I helped design his costume for the Mars Girl Show in 1980. You know, so I've been around doing all this stuff and printing T-shirts, to help pay to buy school books and stuff for myself too and other garments. But also I got involved in furniture making as well. I'm a furniture maker, cabinet maker by design. I do that, architectural drawing and stuff like that, mechanical drawing. So I do all of those stuff, and I do a little bit of legal. I study law in Canada here for 2 years, but not becoming a lawyer, but just to know the law. But in terms of what I'm hearing you saying there now, clothing line, I also start a clothing line for Gem FM Radio, you know, doing clothing and other household items and stuff as well. Not only for house, but for dogs and cats, pets, and everything like that. So going wide with everything. So it's kind of a nice to hear that doing those things. And I am Grenadian. I think I got an email from you or something to send in my info to be featured on your webpage. I yet to do that. You know?
Take your time, man. Take your time.
So yeah, I really I've seen a lot of stuff. My daughter she's 18 years old, and she designed music. She has song design and stuff like that.
Okay.
In Ontario, she will have won the Ontario Mirror Award of music for composing and designing music back to back 2018, 2019. And 2020, she have gotten the Adjudicator's Award for song design and original composition, and she was going to have a third year of winning the Mirror Award again for designing music and song design creation and stuff like that. She sits on here right now. She's working on a project right now. She playing all the instruments. She played 11 instruments. You know, all by herself. She's a one-man band, so to speak. You know, so she does a lot of that. And my thing is to tell her that I told her straight up, you don't need to work for people. You have what it takes to open your own business. And I told her, stay out of school, not to go work for people, but to go into business for herself. So my effort is to push her into business for herself. The very same decision here is not for about me. Really, I build in this for her, and not for her only. Like I say to her, it's not about you. It's a community. You know, it's a community radio station, news people, and TV station all together. It's all about you helping people. And I tell you straight up that when this thing, which way it is, it's not about you. Everybody is family, you know. So I treat everybody as family. Don't see people as employees, but as family members, you know, and treat them as such. So the whole idea here is to create an environment where other people. And one thing I said to her, and I think I heard Joan say that working for somebody, you're losing time.
Yes,
and you could work on your own. And I said to my coworker, not just Wednesday gone, but I always say that to people, when I go to work, I lose money. And they can understand why. Every day I go to work, I lose $3,000 an hour. Every day. I lose $3,000 an hour every day I show up to work. And people don't understand that. What I do here, the value of what I do here, is over $4 million a year. Kind of work that I do here, producing and writing and preparing this work in the station. So the value in what we do is way outweigh what you're doing on the job for somebody else. Your work is more valuable than your job. Your work is what you're created to do. And if you do find yourself doing your work and you put the time in and the value in, it will pay off in the end. So what we do is to try to create an environment where people, when they work for you, ask them, what is their dream? What is it, if they're not working for you, what is it they really want to do? If they have the time and the money, what would they do if they're not working for you? And find out what they want and help them become that. Don't keep them as an employee. Don't keep them back by giving them a paycheck. But help them to nourish their dreams and to fulfill their dreams. Because you never know who else that they may be helping by going to business for themselves. You know, and once you help somebody to become what, they will help somebody to become what they want to be. So you kind of creating a ripple effect, domino effect. So you don't keep people to work for you, find what their dreams are and help them fulfill it. So if they come to work with you for 5 years, after 5 years, you should help them be on their way to get theirs done. You know? So don't keep people as employees.
Yeah.
Get them to the point where they have to be taken up for themselves. It's like, see them as a spacecraft. You know, burning all the energy, 90% of the fuel on the ground. And when the two rockets never go into space with them, you need something to take off. And when they blast off, you get the rocket separate from the main ship. So you have to be that kind of rocket that launch them out, right, and let them go on their own afterward. Don't keep them, because people have dreams, and sometimes they feel that they can't do it on their own. You know, because nobody tell them they could do it on their own, and they kind of fearful of going out on a limb. But as an employer, you shouldn't just have people working for you. Every day somebody turn 18. Every day. So don't fear to lose people. Let them go on their way. They become better and have their dream fulfilled. And the next 18-year-old come along, they have a dream too. And what employers don't do, they don't ask people about their dream. They ask them what you could do for the company.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But just ask them what they want to become, and then you help them become that. Right? And you'll be surprised how much their service could enhance your business. Because when they go out and do their own, they say, well, I know somebody that does this business that can help you with it. You know, so it's all about helping people become better. So when I see young people doing that and taking that initiative to go into business for themselves, and your fathers, hats off to them, because that's what we should be doing to our children, fathering them and nurturing them into business people, not to become an employee per se for the rest of their life. I mean, I tell people all the time when I do speaking engagement that the 40-40 plan doesn't help. Really, it starts you off, but you shouldn't stay there for 40 years in a job. You know, try to get into business for yourself. After 5 years, I mean, some people are not that fortunate because they never grew up in an environment where they taught them how to become what they want to be. You know, sometimes you hear it all the time, you become like your father. And your father might not be the person that become who he wanted to be. You know? And they say, well, if mommy is saying that mommy must be right. She knows daddy more than me. But daddy might be a junk, he might be a prisoner, but he's looking for some way to become something, but he never find it himself. So when you're telling me, I will be like daddy, I'll be fine doing the same wrong thing that he did. But find yourself in an environment that people who know how to do what you want to do. Surround yourself with people that are doing what you want to do. You can't go to Vivian Richard and ask him to teach you to play basketball. He's a cricketer. So you find yourself in the position of people who are doing what you're doing. Like Jones said, you find yourself a tailor, somebody who do marketing or whatever, and find out from them how they do what they do. And you grow from there. You know, for me, I find myself in an environment where people do radio, you know, and watch what they do and do the same that they do. Just duplicate the process. Don't reinvent the wheel, you know. And so I say to young people all the time, find your dream, you know, find your purpose, and you'll find your way. Because success is not really the house and the cars that you have. success is really a progressive realization of a worthwhile dream. And as you go through that, you will find yourself developing your talents and your skill set. I think Les Brown, who said, the worst scenario for a man to die is to have his family members around him when he's dying. He live his full life, and while his family members praying and crying over him, up come his dreams and his goals and his talents come and say, look at you. Only you could have given us life. Now you're dying, we have to die with you. And my question to the living, what dream you have? He said, the richest place on the planet is in the cemetery. There you'll find dreams that were never achieved, books that were never written, building that was never built, stories that were never told. That somebody tell them they can't do it. And they believe them. And they die with their dream. Question to those people listening to us, what dream do you have right now? It's not too late to live, to fulfill your dream. I'm so happy that you guys take initiative so that you can pass it on to your children and your children's children. Nothing better than receive your income in. Yes. You know, for generation to generation. Yeah. Create the environment.
Going off that though, going off that, it's just crazy because Javis and I we're pretty young. Like I think it's a perfect time to take risks. You know, we're really young. We don't have kids. We don't have. We don't have anything to attach us to. So might as well just take it all, take a chance, you know, and be happy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a really good venture both of you are doing, and one recognizing the talent and gift of other persons, and then one bringing out his talent in it. You know, both are talents in different ways. You know, people will be looking and be admiring the work that you guys do and be inspired by what you guys do. I hope that this session today will inspire some young people to really go deep inside of them and pull out that talent that they have, that lying dormant in them, and bring it out. You know, because everything somebody sees, somebody do, they're like, oh, I could do that. I have an idea similar to that. I probably, I see, I'm not going to do this, but there's something in me that have to come out. And by you doing what you're doing, it might just inspire somebody to do something. Yeah. You know. Yeah. Just before I close this here, the automobile we see today, different people do different things in the automobile. Somebody do the lights, somebody do the tires, somebody do the rims, So all together, the car come together with different talents.
Exactly.
And that's life. Life is a puzzle. You have to put all the pieces together. Yeah. Pablo.
Yes.
Yes, Brother John. Well, thank you for that bit here. Speaking about the features of the website and so. I know there's been quite a bit of focus on individuals. Have you been doing historical sites and other attractions in the country? Have you done much on that? And is that something that you intend to make a major feature of your presentations?
So on our Instagram, when I went to Grenada in 2019, my father bought me a camera. And the funny thing is that I always wanted to get into photography, but I never could afford to buy a good camera. When I got to Grenada, like I said, like my life more so changed. I feel like I kind of got a better sense of myself. I started seeing certain stories that my father told me as a baby, and I recognized what he was saying now, especially going to where he first grew up at. I remember you saying, I think, the back road.
Yeah, the back street, we call it. Yeah, Edward Street is the correct name, but they call it back street.
I took a picture there. It's on my Instagram of this family. And to me, it was a very meaningful picture. It just represents just the culture. I mean, no matter what year that you're in, just seeing it, you're going to recognize a feeling within yourself. So to answer your question, I took numerous amount of pictures that you could see in the website and on Instagram and Facebook, just to showcase the beauty of Grenada. I went to Carriacou as well. I think the boat ride was about like 2 hours, I believe. I even took pictures on the boat. funny thing is too, some of the pictures that I've taken, I've also used it for my personal business within the music, and even with my brand, I started doing clothing as well this year. It inspired me to create certain images and drawings for my brand, as well as putting it on I'm Grenada, and even as album and single covers that I've created for my music and for my music production as well. So it kind of milked into other things that I'm doing. Not only just staying within I'm Grenada, but other business ventures that I have taken since then.
Okay, do you want to give us a little bit more of an insight into the creation of your brand and what else does it entail?
I created a brand called Kids beginning of last year. And my main thing before I continue into it was to create something controversial, to create something that will create conversation. And same thing with what Matthew was saying is everything that I'm doing within the brand is, I want it to be personal in a way. I create like a meaning. I'm trying to create a size tag. And I really wanted to say something that could, play with somebody's brain in a way. And one thing that I created was each piece is meaningful, but it means nothing. Because I could see that image or that garment that I created, and my take of it is going to be way different than yours. So my take means nothing to you because what you're seeing is something completely opposite of what I'm seeing. So also too is I wanted to showcase what it means to not go down the typical straight line in a way of just doing what society or what you were learned to do, You create, like I said, a sense of self and individualism. So the brand is called Kids, right? KYDS. And it's basically stands for Kill Your Demons Swiftly. And that's more so exposing the hardship of what it takes to be whatever that you want to become. I could show you, this is a sample, nothing I'm showing you is final, but this is the logo right over here. KYD and the snake over here. And I created a hat recently, a sample of a hat. I did like my own take of the New York Yankees logo, the baseball team with the World Series logo over here. And then I put my stitching with the brand over here. I don't know, to me, when I created this, it was a transition period for me. I was doing something else with other people, and I kind of lost myself trying to not only catch on to what they're doing, but what I love at the end of the day, So this was kind of like my give back into that chapter of my life. And maybe somebody else could see that and relate in a way and want to just be a part of my vision, or not even my vision, not only myself. I do business with somebody else as well. But I just want to expose the factor of it's not just think of an idea and then it becomes it. It's a lot of stuff that goes in between that, So you have to more so kill that ego that you have or that old self and just try to, embrace the hardship and embrace what it really takes to become what you want to become in life,
You use a terminology a while ago. You said KYD what?
KYDS.
KYDS. Kill your demons swiftly, you said?
Yes.
And Brother John had a twisted one, isn't it?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah,
very much.
I used this one kind of jumped at me because of a conversation I had with someone recently about, controlling the demons. What are you referring to here when you say kill your demons swiftly?
It's a variable in a way of just hardship, and I feel like ego presents is very present in a lot of people's lives. Nobody is willing to learn about themselves in a way. Now, I could have used a lot of words different from then the word demons, but like I said before, I want to curate this conversation. I want for when I say that, it's kind of offsetting in a way, and it makes you want to know, okay, what do you really mean, or what's the true meaning behind that?
Right.
So I wanted to, like personally, I don't feel like this is for like a simple-minded person or somebody who, I mean, it takes kind of a lot of experience in a way mentally to accept or to understand where I'm trying to get at, or what the goal of the brand or the meaning is, so I'm trying to slice my own type of crowd and harness that in a way, you know what I'm saying, rather than
right.
I don't want it to be simple or something that's easily explained. I want something to be not only like, I want it to be something that not only I don't understand, It's not something to be understood, something to just take and find out the meaning or your version of that meaning years from now or months from now, You
want to get people thinking, have people putting on the thinking cap, right, rather than just embracing something because it's been presented.
Yes.
But John, what's the terminology again? Wandering generality.
Wandering generalities. People don't know.
He doesn't want people to be wandering generalities.
Yeah.
You also mentioned about people getting in contact with you and providing their information and so.
Yeah.
And you spoke about the contact information. Now, I can tell you something. There's people who may qualify to be featured on your website, and they may have a challenge in terms of providing you with the base information. Some people will tell you straight up, I have a difficulty writing about myself. Yes. Is there an established template that you have that can be used by people so they can have that information, have that template that indicates what are some of the specific information that they need to share with you in order for you to be able to do the feature?
So, like I said before, there's no specifications to be part of the website. I understand that there may be troubles in the way of articulating of what you want to showcase of yourself. Mm-hmm. There've been instances where people who have came to us, but we just tell them to better explain it in your words of what you do, and then we will just go along from there. I think there was a girl that sang earlier on when we started the website, and she couldn't really explain thoroughly of her talent. She sings, but she wasn't really explaining, okay, how did I get here, or what inspires me. She wasn't really explaining those things. So we'll walk you through that of how we could expound on that subject. I mean, as you're saying that now, I was thinking of maybe even putting a WhatsApp number in there so we could better be reached in a faster way rather than emailing. I understand people don't really use the email more, say, or even for those who don't even have Facebook, they could at least reach us through phone. But there's no criteria or there's no template in the way. But I mean, we do know as a consumer of what we want to read or what would grab us. So we're going to try to write it in a way so that the reader or the listener could be more interested. You know, that makes any sense? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely so. And that's why I mentioned historical sites a while ago. And I would hope that you'll be able to do some, in addition to those features on individuals and who's doing what.
Yes.
To do some features on some of our built and natural assets. Because as you did mention about the photos that you took and how telling and engaging they were, we have some sites here, some natural sites, some of our, I mean, there's no waterfalls compared to Niagara, but the environment and the whole, as we usually referred to as a virgin island, you know, because much of our natural sites and so have been unexplored. Many of our people here don't even know some of the assets that we have. So we have some beautiful sites, some beautiful spots, some beautiful history, very interesting history to go with some of it. And it would be good to have some of these featured on your site. So essentially, when a visitor comes to your site, they get not just a write-up on individuals who's doing what, which is very critical, because it enables people to know, well, if you come to Grenada, where you can go and get some local product or whatever. But it's also important for us to highlight some of our builds, our historical and natural assets. To you, Mr. Jones, you mentioned about mentorship a while ago. How important do you consider mentorship to be to young people in the development process?
I think it's imperative. I don't think there's any way to truly survive, like just the business world or completing any dream without learning from other people's failures. Whether if you're reading books can be your mentors, or people, you know. So I think it's very important to learn from like history, what people have done, what works, what doesn't work, because you could be wasting so much time doing something that someone has already solved just from a conversation. So mentorship is everything.
Mentorship, yeah.
And you are presently at Clemson. And how long does it go? How long do you have to go in towards the completion of your studies?
I'm a junior. After this semester, I have one more year left.
Okay. And so what can be expected of Mr. Matthew Jones coming out of that period of studies? What do you anticipate going forward?
Honestly, this summer will be the answer. I don't know where I will be financially and where I can be. Our projections, everything set up to see if I can fully be self-sufficient financially, just off my company. So the goal right now is that I can have my own place, my own apartment, and just focus on branding and continue to keep making sales on my e-commerce website. So that's the goal for me, just to be an entrepreneur.
Okay. Speaking about doing sales, presently, do you all your sales online, or do you have a physical store also?
So actually, right now, I'm at our marketplace, where people who value luxury garments, luxury goods, trade a lot of clothes with, or they sell. It's called SOE. So I'm at a marketplace. I get to meet my consumers. I get to meet a bunch of customers. We get to connect, and I get to also meet other businesses so they can sell my products in their stores. That's the most physical as I go. Right now, I'm focusing more on the e-commerce store route, but I do go to pop-up shops around like right now this North Carolina, South Carolina, just around the states. Right now, I'm primarily focused on not having a regular brick and mortar store because I do love travel.
Okay. So that being said, is there any? Are you saying that there is no likelihood that there will be a brick and mortar store, or that your products will be showcased at brick and mortar stores?
Right now, I can say that there is not going to be a brick and mortar store in the next.
Okay.
But our pieces will be showcased in certain stores that
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. On the issue of mentorship again, it said that Clemson students, faculty, and staff are instantly plugged into a network of leaders and mentors in a variety of industries, all of whom are willing and interested in lending a hand to their fellow tigers. What's the significance of the terminology tigers as it relates to your faculty? And how does one get into the mentorship program of your faculty?
So, with all things in life, if you want something enough, you're going to get it. It's just taking the step and trying. Clemson is very, very famous for their alumni network. That's one reason why I wanted to go there, because so our mascot's Tiger. That's why they say Tigers. Like I'm a Tiger because I go to Clemson. That's our mascot. And so if you go anywhere and you see someone wearing a Clemson paw or a Clemson any affiliated gear, people get excited, or there's like a sense of brotherhood that automatically happens. And with such passion, the alumni programs are amazing. People who are successful, people who have made their money, people who know the skills that you want, are willing to stop their day or even their month to structure the entire schedule just to teach you their skills that they have, because it's part of the culture at Clemson. We all want to succeed together.
Okay. Oh, well, is that given the conversations that's taking place in the US at this juncture, your faculty is what? Is it predominantly African Americans or otherwise? What is it?
Okay, so sorry. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yes, Clemson's a very white school, to be honest. There's very white school.
Okay.
However, they know how they're. Excuse me. Sorry, allergies. They know how they're perceived, so they make a lot of efforts to be as inclusive as possible. I know for a fact, I have had a phenomenal experience socially. And I'm aware, we live in a white world. It's going to take leveraging some relationships disregarding what race they are or anything. I will leverage any relationship I can for someone to help me complete my dream, And they have the resources to help me do so, which I love. And I make a lot of good connections and most of all friends.
Yeah. Well, John, we're getting a bit of a lesson here also this afternoon. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you something. What he's saying there, even I went to school here and I experienced a lot of this whiteness. And my daughter, when she was 5 years old, came and asked me why everything in the school is white. The statues, the priests, the teachers is white, And I had to let her know that's how the system is designed. But you don't focus on that. Focus on your school, your education, and get the best out of it. In her music journey, I mean, she among all the students in the class, in the music class especially, she excelled above all of them. And one of the things the brother talked about, his father bought him a camera, and I bought Janice a steel pan, to play music. And I bought her a piano as well, and so she was able to help herself through that whole thing. And then you're going out and do things. But the thing about it is, when where you're put, where you're planted, you got to grow where you're planted. And the brother is saying that you get help from them, and you understand. And that's the thing. When you have a dream and you have a mission to go on, there will be obstacles, and you'll never find a life without obstacles in it. And perhaps the environment you're in, you might if you look at the obstacles and take your eyes off the prize, you will never get to your destination that the way you want to get to it. You always look at the weed that growing up around you. But if you focus on your being coming into yourself, nothing will stop you. So the whole idea is to focus on your journey, the destination, the way you want to go. And as you go through it, there are always going to be bumps in the road. But the road of success is not evenly paved. And that's one thing that I always remember. That whether it's white, brown, green, or whatever it is, going to be in your way. The storm's going to come, the flood's going to come, the fire going to come. But it's not what happened to you on the journey, it's how you react to it. Change
Amen.
and you have to be prepared to deal with the fire, the flood, and the wind. The same wind and the air that you breathe, sometimes it rages. The same boat you cruise on become a storm one day. The fire you used to cook could burn on your house. So how do you manage when all this crisis come up? I have a good friend of mine, when I was going through my crisis myself, he said to me, John, rough seas make good sailors. Those don't jump. Weather the storm. And as you go through life, the storm going to come. If you jump the ship, the chances of you being drowned is greater than staying on the boat and manage it.
Yeah.
So I always advise people, don't jump the ship. Stay on the ship. Because if I jump my ship, I'll be here today. When the road get rough, the waters get high, and the tide beat up against the boat, the sail get torn. The engine fail. But you just have to keep on paddling until you get to your destination. And again, life is a journey. It could either become a wonder generality, or you could be somebody fulfilling a dream. No ship leave a port without a destination. So the question is, where do you want to end up? So if you know where you want to go, you keep on pushing, keep on moving. You might take a different destination, a different route, but your destination is the same. Skip to your destination. Never worry about. The things will come. Trust me, things will come. The financial hardship will come. The distraction will come. All kind of distraction will come at you. But stay the course. Stay the course. Keep your eyes on the prize. Never give up. Never give in to noisy negative. And I always say to my daughter, don't let people's opinion of you, negative opinion of you, becomes your reality. There's a lot of negative people who go tell negative things, but there's some people like I share it all the time, but they are abortionists. You have a dream, you conceive a dream in your heart and your mind, and people say, oh, you can do that. Your father, your mother, nobody in your family did that, but everybody in my family is not me. I'm different. I choose not to be a common man.
Exactly.
I seek security. I don't seek security. I seek opportunity. And always there's more opportunities in the world than opportunists. So when we as opportunists see the opportunity and take it, people say we're greedy or we this or that, but you're sitting and watching it pass by. Every crisis presents an opportunity to solve or to become great.
Exactly. I believe that.
Every crisis presents an opportunity. Some people strive in crisis, some people die in crisis. But if you know what you want and see it, I remember a story I read in a book somewhere where two brothers, they grew up in a poor neighborhood, right? The father saved up money and he sent them to university. One came back and he run a pipe and water from the well, right, to the house. And then soon after everybody wanted pipe and water to the house, he became a millionaire doing it. The other one became a fisherman. He bought a trawler and he started fishing. He bought a fishing boat with a fish finder. And he got fishing, and guys go all night fighting to fish, and he go once and just come back before everybody else, boat full of fish, and start selling. And people start complaining. What he had to do? The fisherman who had one fisherman said, okay, I go buy the fish from you, go out and fish. And the next one starts saying, oh, can he fish? So everybody start becoming entrepreneurs in their own rights. So perhaps you never know what's going to happen. If a salesman going to island and see nobody in shoes, he say, I don't want to be here. There's nobody wearing shoes. The next man comes and say, send me all the shoes. Nobody wears shoes. So perception is reality. Whatever you see, whatever you believe you cannot do, you just wouldn't be able to do it. So just go ahead and become that which you're destined to be. Focus on the broader mirror, not on the review one.
Right. Okay, Brother John. Back to you, Mr. Sonny. We're coming up to the top of the hour at 4 o'clock in a little bit. Can you tell us, it says that you are a budding artist. Can you tell us about, what you're involved in, what genre of music and so that you do? And where are you at on your musical journey presently?
So I started my music journey before the website, actually. But the experience with the website definitely molded me. It was definitely not an easy journey in the beginning, as far as taking an idea and creating it. Was working with certain developers who, long story short, never really seen eye to eye. And it's also, you deal with a lot of people who just want to more so scam you in a way, They just create something very nice for you. They say yes to everything, but then long story short, they never make it into fruition. So it was a lot of those barriers. And I went through that, in a very small scale previously from starting the website. And I felt like from that experience, I was able to create that as an example for my father, he was very, he didn't really understand it in a way, like, why am I creating this idea and everybody is more so, it looks like everybody's out to get me, And I know from my experience, it's just, you're creating your reality in a way. I felt like I always use the example of you turning the world into where you want it to go. And that takes a lot of time. And it takes a lot of unsuccessful experiences, but it builds character and it builds the environment that you want to be in. As far as music, my genre, I create, anything. It's just based off of feeling. But as far as what I'm inspired by, a lot of jazz. My father played a lot of jazz growing up. Reggae, hip hop, rap. I listen to everything but country music, to be honest. My taste in music is pretty much all over the place. But I feel like my strong suit is more so in the jazzy area, hip hop, rap-ish. I don't really put a box in it. If I could learn something to play in a new genre, I would, I'm definitely a student within this industry.
Okay. So is there anything that you can share with us, a bit of a lyric or so that you would want to share with us that comes out of your production?
Let me see. I haven't prepared anything.
No, if it's too much to ask at this juncture, that's okay.
It's not too much to do that. Let me just run my mind back a little bit. All right. Should I start? I could do like something short. Elegance is evident. I mastered all elements. You drinking sediments to slow down while we moving past your settlements. How can you feel to me like you don't see who was president. I'm the rawest specimen without a question, who you joking? Amongst most men, they bottom of the bag, giving Reggie like potents. You pointing to an opponent, I'm seeing the lost soul who don't have the opponents, the components, exterminating the rodents so you can see who's the coldest. You feeling like you lack purpose, but it gets purposeful now. Throwing verses in furnace, I'm burning the surface like how. Tell your idols to remain idle, I'm ending their trial. I make it final. They falling off the ladder, they breaking their back spinal. It's well known you messing with the right one. You biting harder than Tyson. I say what I say, you follow Simon. Perfect timing perfect like karma when you deserve it. Roll the hearses, was a guest amongst those churches. Pray and I be delivered from the urges to save that for a different service. You heard it first. Been too many times I felt like I've been blessed with a curse. Because to feel me, you feel God, making believers of all of y'all. Before I shine, they're waiting on my nightfall or downfall. So short.
So, wow, this is deep. So this is really speaking to life experience.
Yeah.
What kind of reception do you find to be, available out there for these kind of lyrics, as against the kind of lyrics that is more flirtatious and just more about having a fun time?
Well, my artist name is Prospect, also known as Perspectives, and just Perspectives in itself, I feel like is just my strong suit in life. I feel like my outlook on life and my realizations has always been a blessing and a curse. I don't feel fond or the typical interest of a person doesn't really interest me in a way. Because I feel like I've seen that within people growing up, so I know what to expect of it, I know where it may lead towards or how much time it may waste, So I've been kind of like on a vocation of just trying to become a better me in a way, and even trying to translate that into certain encounters that I have with certain people. I don't know. I feel like your perspective on things determines, how you end up in life, every negative is a negative because you think it's negative, I feel like there's a positive, within every single thing. It's just your outlook on it, and depending on where you're at mentally determines that emotion you're going to give off, So I'm just very big on experiences. I'm not really too big on just the temporary things,
Okay. COVID-19. How has COVID-19 impacted on you and your operations, your functions, and so on? And what, how do you see things going forward as a consequence of the COVID-19 experience?
I feel like COVID-19, it's definitely a negative thing, right? As far as the lives that it has affected and impacted in a negative way. But I also believe that throughout that whole chaos, a lot of beauty has came out of it. The conversation about entrepreneurship, I never heard it talked about so much since COVID-19 has became a thing. A lot of people has taken light into becoming more independent, breaking off that societal a stem that's in everybody's back. People are trying to become, like I said, just more independent, even amongst this chaos. Like my father and I has recently took a liking into investing into like stocks, trying to see how the market works and such. And it's there's a lot to learn, and I feel like a lot of people have came to realization about that, just that learning thing. Like I don't have to be doing what I was doing before the COVID-19 has started. A lot of people are taking the time and even realize how much time they do have to to be different or to just be themselves and to just trust themselves more and to just take a risk in whatever they see put, you know.
Okay, wow. Any final words? Anything? What message should I ask? Okay, what message would you like to share with people of your age group in terms of in terms of a life approach and in terms of a motivation?
It's never too late, you know. And to just trust yourself. Never too late, and to just keep trusting in yourself. I think John was saying that of it's like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, and even if you're, because like I said, I went from doing music to also with the website and also creating the brand. I never thought that I was going to be doing those other things, you know, and even as one is slowing down, I'm still able to entertain the other one without like saying, you know what, this is not for me now. Sometimes, you know, you have to do something else in order for that other thing that you initially want to do for it to work, you know? So it's never too late, and always just trust the process and just be a student always.
Be a student always. Mr. Matthew Jones, you presently are a student. What kind of advice would you give to other students who are at your stage of maturity and development?
I think he probably got, I think his connection kicked him out probably.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see if I could get him back in.
Okay. Which one will come back in? Hey, I come in. Okay. I'll be back, Pablo.
Okay.
I think his connection probably went out.
Oh, we've lost him. Okay.
I think we lost him, unfortunately.
We have lost Brother Jones. Okay. Well, we're getting into the top of the hour actually, which is the point at which we bring it close to our comfort zone for this evening. You've been with us from about just past 2:30, and it's coming up on 4 o'clock. So any final words you want to share with us, Brother Jarvis, before you leave?
Like I said, you know, just keep going, trust the process, and just be a student in all your endeavors.
Okay. All right.
And thank you for having me and Matthew. It's a beautiful opportunity. It's you know, something that we could both, you know, look back on years from now and embrace this opportunity, you know.
Yes, it's a gauge as to where you've come from on this journey, on this road that you're traveling. Yes, definitely. I felt it was sort of important to have you guys here. First and foremost, given the work that you're doing with I Am Grenada, and I must say that I'm very much impressed, and I'm looking to see, you know, more people, because we have quite a number of people who's doing some wonderful things out here.
Yes.
And, you know, so I'm expecting that these people will be featured on your website in time to come. And I'll be working along as much as possible, you know, with you and your dad in terms of the content and so forth for that website, because I think it really goes a long way in terms of selling Grenada.
Yes.
You know, to those who do not know, because as you said, many people still do not know. When you mention Grenada, they don't make the connection. They're aware of Jamaica, or they might be aware of Trinidad and Tobago, but Grenada, that little dot in the Atlantic Ocean, you know, it's not very visible, even on the map. Okay. So thank you again. Thank you to you and your dad for the good job that you all are doing, and all the best to you guys. And I look forward to, you know, continuing that collaboration as we go forward in terms of, you know, building that Grenada brand, you know, and continue to keep the energy of golf going. All
Yes,
right?
thank you.
Okay. All right, man. All the best, Jarvis.
All the best to you too.
Yeah, man. So this is where we bring the curtains down on the comfort zone for this afternoon. It seems like Brother John Calliste has left us momentarily. We lost Brother Matthew Jones along the way. And in any event, it's at this juncture that we really bring a close to the comfort zone for this afternoon. I trust that those of you who chose to join us this afternoon have gotten a bit of an insight into the mindset and the workings of our young people who have particular focus, who have particular vision, who have particular goals and dreams and visions for themselves. And that some of you are parents and you are in a position where you can begin to nurture and to guide those young people under your ward in terms of developing themselves along similar lines, to become entrepreneurs, to become people who have goals and people who have dreams and people who want to accomplish something of consequence. So I felt it necessary to have these young people here. We speak about, oftentimes when we speak about the young people, it's usually in a derogatory way. It's usually about their shortcomings. It's usually about their flaws. It's usually about their lack of values. And that's the reason why I felt it necessary to bring these two young men here to indicate that they are young people who are aspiring to do things of significance with themselves, for the community, to make the parents proud, okay? And to lift the value of the environment, and to bring a different sense of understanding and appreciation for young people, and to indicate that it's not all young people, and we shouldn't just be painting young people with a broad brush of negativity, because there are many, many young people out there who have a level of focus, who have a level of entrepreneurship in their DNA, and are willing to learn new skills, are willing to make the effort, are willing to go the distance in terms of accomplishing things that are worthwhile, not just for themselves as individuals, but for the community and for our little country here, Grenada, because these two young men, they were not born in Grenada. But when they do things that are, that's credible, Grenada too gets recognized, because there you have this young man visited Grenada, had the opportunity to visit the land of the birth of his father and the mother, and going back with that motivation to get that page going, right? And to begin to highlight Grenada, to begin to highlight who's doing what, who's creating what, who's producing what, who's selling what are some of the locations, the sites and the places of interest that can be visited in Grenada, and that can make your visit something worthwhile, of a worthwhile experience, an unforgettable experience too, if I may say so.